G'day, Sticks with Bemused right here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the news. This is Bemused news, and we're just going to get a opinion on what's happened over the last week. What I've caught on in terms of streams of conversation on Twitter, and a lot of flicking back and forth between these two cameras as a bit of a technical test. See how this setup works. First, a story. Now, NASA are celebrating their 45 years since they've gone to the moon. They went to a moon with Apollo 11 45 years ago, and apparently they're celebrating pretty big. I've seen videos with Buzz Aldrin and a lot of attention on other blog sites and science YouTube videos and things like that. And it seems like a big deal when really it's only 45 years. You'd think they'd save the big ones for like 40, maybe 5 years ago they would have done a big one. Then they'll do another big one in 5 years' time for the 50th. But they're deciding 45 is big for them. I don't know, maybe it's a moon thing. One thing they're thinking of doing is they've just released an image of, it's an artist's reconstruction, not a reconstruction, but like a interpretation of a boot print of what a boot print might look like on Mars. It's got the first lower half is the boot print on the moon, and it sort of transitions into red, saying, look, we're going to do the same thing on Mars. I'm pretty sure NASA's not going to be doing a Mars landing. It's going to be Mars 1 doing that first. Mars 1 is a private group, as far as I know. Why have I got these on? They're not needed. They're just muffling my own voice. Mars 1, they're a private group as far as I know. They're about to start testing, I think, of their little Mars villages. They've got the little cabins and things everyone's going to live in, and they're going to do a test very soon, a live test with volunteers, people volunteering to go to Mars. And I don't think they've selected everyone yet, so if you want to go to Mars, you can still apply. And they're going to put you in this little house, and the house is going to be out in the desert, and you will be breathing just normal Earth air for the first little bit. It's not really going to be testing much, I suppose, just getting people used to the conditions. But eventually they will actually close the ventilation and actually have them running on life support, which I suppose means, artificial air, if that's the way what you'd call it. I don't know how they're actually going to get air in these little things, but yeah. You can apply for that. You can live in these little cabins and see what it might be like to live on Mars. That's exciting. I like Mars. I want to go there. Another thing I saw over the week is I tuned into the EVO 2014 Championships, which is a fighting games championship, esports. I just caught the very end of the Street Fighter, which seemed like it was like the ultimate championship. I'm not exactly on top of how this thing works, but it was Luffy versus the other guy. I'd actually caught on to Luffy versus Snake Eyes first, and I was watching this. It was actually quite exciting. I don't usually watch esports matches or anything like that, but I was actually getting into it. There's like they're fighting and there's tension, and especially in a fighting game, it's like really quick action. It was really good. One thing that caught my eye though was there were two commentators. One of them was Mr. No Name. I'm sorry. Second one was James Chen. I didn't know his name was James Chen at the time. All I heard was the two voices. Now, in the final, it's Luffy versus, this other guy. Luffy is from France. The other guy is from Japan, I'm pretty sure. And apparently, Asian countries always win these Street Fighter competitions. The big fighting competitions, the EVO Championship, I suppose. And Luffy was going to be the first non-Asian to win. And it was referenced here because Luffy's from France. And yes, he looks like he has Asian heritage, right? I agree with that. But James Chen, who I didn't know his name was James Chen at the time, comes in and says, well, no, I think it is going to go to an Asian. It will be an Asian champion. I'm pretty sure he's Asian, but he's from France. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. If he's from France, he's French. He is not Asian. That's like Snake Eyes, the match I saw before then. It's looking at him and going, oh, yeah, no, he's from Africa. I'm pretty sure he's from Africa, but, he's an American. It's like, no, he's either American or he's not. Or you can have English people from Asia, from Africa, It's like, I'm Australian. I see myself as Australian, even though, yes, I have European heritage, I think, from, like, a fair while back. And then cuts. It's like James Chen saying that about. He says that about Luffy. It's as if he says it to Snake Eyes, and then it's as if he sees James Chen, the commentator, and goes, "Oh yeah, he's obviously Asian, or even though he sounds America. Hang on, James Chen." I would say he sees himself as American, or does he see himself as Asian now? When he's like, I don't really understand that, and I think it would have been a bigger deal if it was if he said a similar thing about Snake Eyes or of another race, but whatever. Luffy's French. That's it. Game of Thrones will be going ahead of the books. So obviously Game of Thrones is kicking ass in views, and it's the most pirated TV series that they've had. The show is ridiculous, but it's catching up to the books very quickly because the books haven't been finished. Yeah, everyone knows this, right? And they're catching up very quick. After the next season, they're pretty much going to be caught up, or maybe 2 more seasons they've got to go. But they're eventually going to overtake the writing of the books. And they've said, yeah, that's fine. We'll just keep going once we hit that point. We'll start making it up. We'll start writing the story. And I suppose this is fine since George R.R. Martin is, part of the writing team. He'll be able to point it in the direction he wants it to go. But I can imagine, book readers, they're going to get a bit uptight and feel like they're being a bit screwed over, I suppose. They're, I had a word for it before, I forget what that was, but they're not going to be too happy. Another thing I found out this week is who Fred Durst is. Because I kept seeing his name come up. Fred Durst is playing Call of Duty. Fred Durst is on Twitch. And I'm like, okay, good on you for watching Fred Durst on Twitch. Who is this guy? But anyway, apparently he's the Limp Bizkit frontman. And he plays Call of Duty on Twitch. Still a big whoopee-doo, but, I know who that is now. And there's also another one. There's Hunter Pence. That's a sweet name, Hunter Pence. Apparently an American baseball player. He plays Hearthstone on Twitch. So isn't that funny? Huffington Post is coming to Australia. Like, big whoop. I don't really care about this one. Who cares if Huffington Post goes to Australia? I don't care if Huffington Post goes anywhere. Unless it's Mars. If they're going to Mars, then that would be sweet. And they would have a monopoly on Mars news. Absolutely. They would have one-to-one interviews with the Curiosity rover, with that other, Spirit rover? There's a few of them over there. Anyway, if Huffington Post go to Mars, then I'm all for it. But until then, it's like, news is online anyway. I don't care where they are. It's just online. It's worldwide. I use Twitter. I don't read. The big one for the week. Thor is a chick, a woman, and I've seen more of this story I've seen this week has been people defending the decision, Marvel's decision to turn Thor into a woman, even though it's a different person. It's not actual Thor himself. He's just over there, and then some other female Thor comes in and picks up the hammer. I've seen people defending that position, as in, everyone calm down, it's going to be all right. It's this, that's the other thing. And, a lot more than I've seen people actually getting upset about it and going, oh, Thor can't be a chick, Thor can't be a woman, it's ridiculous. And I have a feeling it's one of those things where people are defending it and saying, look, it's fine. Same as when people get offended. It's like, oh, this is so offensive. Look, everyone should be offended by this. This is an outrage. This is a big deal. We've got to stop this. All these things from being published, these things from being written, these people from existing that are offending X, Y, and Z when no one's actually being offended. I have a feeling it's one of those situations where no one actually really cares that Thor's a woman, but people think, oh, it must be a big deal, and so I got to defend the decision, and it's fine. And they're making it a big deal. Me personally, I don't read comic books, so... But I can understand if people are upset. Like, it's bad enough when an actor changes on a TV show. That's hard enough to grasp. And then, let alone changing the entire sex of the person. I'm sure female Thor's still going to be cool, but, you can't just change it. If you're going to change who it is, give them a different name. It's because they even say it's not Thor. Thor's still in the universe. It's just going to be this female one. Give her a different name. She can still be the goddess of thunder. Just give her a different name. Give her the hammer. And, I suppose in South America, O is masculine, so it'd be A is the feminine. So instead of Thor, it'd be Thar. Call her Thar. Anyway, that's all from me for this week. I might see you next week. I might not. We'll see how this sort of setup goes. Anyway, have yourself a good time. Later.